Welcome to Goofing Off-Road. My name's Tony. If you've ever driven your truck at night in really technical or heavily wooded areas, you'll know that the headlights don't really help you to see around the corners where you need to go, and it's super helpful to have some lights to enable you to see to the side of the truck. These are commonly known as ditch lights. Baja Designs make a kit for the Power Wagon with a bracket and the Squadron Pros. I didn't want the big Squadron Pros on the A-pillars of my truck, so I decided to buy the brackets and some S2 Pros to install as ditch lights. Let me show you how to do it. To install the brackets, you're going to need a ratchet and extension, a 4 and a 5mm hex driver, a pry tool and a Sharpie, a 10mm and a 9/16 socket, a 5/8 inch wrench, some rubbing alcohol and a cloth, a cutting tool I used a Dremel, and some safety glasses. The Baja Design Kit comes with everything you need to install the ditch lights, the lights and brackets, a pre-made wiring harness, connectors for your own wiring, and the A-pillar brackets. Before we can install the bracket, we need to remove this piece of cowling from the bottom of the windscreen, so pop the hood and let's get to work. The piece of trim is held in by 3 metal clips and a prong that goes into the base of the windscreen. So using a plastic pry tool, start with the clip at the front of the truck and work your way backwards. Be really careful as the plastic is quite fragile. With the trim removed, take out the 10mm bolt. The brackets come marked PS for passenger side and DS for driver's side, so make sure you're using the right one. In the kit, you get a thick piece of rubber and a thin piece of rubber. The thick piece of rubber goes on the bottom of the bracket. I'm going to clean up the bottom of the bracket with some rubbing alcohol. Stick on the thick piece of rubber. And then trim it with a pair of scissors. Wipe the inside surface of the fender with alcohol to clean it off. Loosely install the bracket and then slide the thin piece of rubber between the bracket and the fender. Hold it in place and draw a line along the edge so you can see where to cut it so it's not sticking out. Cut the thin piece of rubber along the line that you drew. Slide the rubber behind the bracket so you know where it needs to go. Move the bracket out of the way and then stick the rubber to the fender. Secure the bracket with the supplied bolt and washer. The piece of trim won't clip back into place now because the bracket's in the way, so we need to mark the trim up and take a piece off. Slide the piece of trim into place and with a Sharpie mark where the bracket touches the trim. You want to mark about 1/4 inch forward of the bracket. I used a Dremel to cut out the piece of trim where I marked. When you've finished, it should look something like this. Now you can slide the piece of trim back into place and snap it in. Repeat the same process to install the driver's side bracket. When you've finished, it should look like this. The A-pillar bracket's installed, now you can install the brackets for the lights using a 5/8 wrench and socket. Now install the light to the bracket. The star washer goes between the light and the inside of the bracket. You can now do the same thing on the other side of the truck. Now that the lights are installed on the brackets, it's time to wire them up. I'm going to use my Switch Pros to control the lights, but you might use the included wiring harness and switch. To do the wiring, you're going to need wire cutters and wire strippers, crimpers and scissors, a craft knife to strip back the existing shielding, zip ties, electrical tape, split loom, ring connectors and buck connectors, and a heat gun. I plugged in the waterproof connector on the passenger side and then ran the wire along the firewall to the driver's side. With both the wires run, I cut them to length and then taped them together. I twisted the two ground wires together, put on some heat shrink and a ring terminal, and then attached them to the ground on the chassis. I twisted the two positive wires together, slid on some heat shrink, and then attached it to the buck connector on the Switch Pros wiring. And then I ran split loom along the wires to protect them. With the wiring run, I should now be able to turn on the ditch lights with the Switch Pros like this. That's it, the ditch lights are installed. It's pretty straightforward. If you do have to install the included switch, then there are instructions to show you how to do that. I hope this video was useful. Please like and subscribe for more cool videos.